there is this exercise called the inflow formula. It's called the inflow formula. It looks like this on the screen. So first step of this exercise, I would like you to think about 3 things that you're currently doing at the moment that you really either struggle with, or you don't like doing, or you really know that you shouldn't be doing. So, for example, you might resourcing candidates could be one of them. It could be admin, emails. It could be formatting CVs. It could be training staff.
Yeah.
It could be debt chasing. It could be cleaning the office. It could be marketing, social media. It could be writing proposals. So I want you to think about, what are the top 3 things in my world at the moment that I either don't like to do or I struggle with doing. And I want you to write them into this red box here. The top 3 things. So, Katie, when we do this with our clients, what other type of things?
Yeah. So I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was saying to me, and this was sort of insightful for him. He hadn't even realized, but he's doing summaries for his candidates that he then provides to the client, which is taking him a long time, and he's presenting that to the clients. Other things that people will talk about is, it could be a presentation. Some people don't like necessarily putting those presentations together. It depends where you're most in flow. Or it could be invoicing. It could be that debt chasing. It could be chasing terms. That's quite a laborious, high volume. It can be high volume job to do. So it can be those sorts of things.
Definitely adverts.
Mapping the market, researching.
Good. Yeah, cool. Okay, good. Right. So I want to flip this now on its head, and I want you to ask yourself, right, what are the top 3 things? So we're now in this box here. We're in this box, these 3 boxes here. What I want you to think about and write down is, what are the top 3 things I love to do naturally and I am most productive at? So it could be client work,
client meetings.
Yeah. It could be that you really love hiring and training. Training staff and coaching staff. It could be that you're an absolute diva in, creating sales funnels. It could be that you're great at presenting.
Networking.
Yes. Fee negotiation.
Networking, presenting your
Product
company.
So think about the things you really love to do and you can do really seamlessly, you're most productive at. It's the type of stuff that really just is why you set up your business, why you enjoy doing what you're doing. So we're going to move now on to the next phase. So what I would like you to do is come back to the things you struggle to do and least like to do in this box here. And I would like you to put in, if you think about an average week, how much time do you spend per week on this activity? So say like you're summarizing CVs for candidates and you're having to do 2 a day and it's taking you an hour a day. So it's like 5 hours per week. Think about like responding to emails, responding to clients. That might be like 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. So like 10, that'd be like 10 hours a week. And then, so what are the number of hours per week that you take up to do? So you might, with debt chasing, it might just be, an hour a week. So what is the amount of time that you spend on these top 3 things that you struggle with or least like to do? And like, just put the time in this box here. Okay. And once you've got that total, I would like you to add those 3 things up these 3 hours up, and I would like you to put them into this box. So you would put here, for example, 16 hours, which is 10 plus 5 plus 1. So whatever you put in here, I'd like you to put your total amount in this box here. Okay, so now we've got that. What I'd like you to think about is, with the top 3 things that you love to do and you're most productive at, how much time do you spend on those things? So for example, with client work, how many hours a week do you spend doing that? So you might say, I don't know, 3 hours a week. Hiring and training consultants, you might do that once a quarter. I don't know. So if you work it out on a weekly basis, it's probably the equivalent of like half an hour a week. Building systems or funnels, or I don't know, let's say it's, I don't know, your website, I don't know, marketing, social media, creating a really performing sales, you might say, actually, I don't have any time to do that at the moment. So, I'm not doing it. And again, with your things you love to do, I want you to put in, like in this box here, what's the total amount per week that you spend doing this? So this is actually this is going to be 3.5 hours per week. Okay. So next step of this is, and this is the $1 million question. So when we do this with our clients, I've made a couple of notes. So we did this with one of our clients called Tony, and he loves client presentations. In fact, he's probably one of the best people I've ever met at selling high-level strategic business. And we asked him, like, how much time do you spend doing that on a weekly basis? And he said, all honesty, it's like, I don't know, it's probably like, I don't know, 4 hours a month, so an hour a week. And then we asked him this question, which I'm going to ask you now, and I'll tell you what happened in a minute. Or we did this with Marcus, who he loved marketing out candidates. He loved the interview with the candidate. He loved then to take those candidates to market. And again, we asked him, how much time do you spend doing that? And he said, hardly any, because I don't have time. And then we asked Emma, like, who loved training and upskilling her consultants, like, how much time do you spend with your guys helping them to get the next level? She's like, I don't, because I don't have time. Anyway, so here's the question we asked them. What would happen if you spent 80% of your time doing these top 3 things that you love? What increase in your revenue would that give you if you were to increase and focus 80% of your time on the things that you're most productive and love to do naturally? Yeah. So for example, with Tony, he said, if I spent 80% of my time in front of clients pitching for them, that would generate probably an extra 3 million a year for our business. I know I could win 3 clients a year, and each client is worth about 750 grand to us. Okay. When we asked Marcus, if you were marketing out candidates, he said, if I was doing that and I marketed out 1 or 2 candidates a week, he said, I'd make 8 placements a month, which would give me like 50 grand, which would give me 50 grand extra a month. So that's an extra 600K a year. When we said to Emma, like, what would happen if you could get your consultants, so they're making an extra placement a month? She's like, geez, that would give me an extra probably £500,000 a year. So our question for you is, if you spent 80% of your time on the 3 things that you loved to do most and you're most productive at, how much of an increase would that add to your GP in your business? And I want you to write down, like, what is that figure increase? Right. So what I want to know is, what is the amount of money uplift you'd get in your business if you did 80% of your time in the 3 things you love? Put that figure, that financial figure. It might be 1 million. It could be 300K. It could be 500. What is that figure? So the next thing we're going to do is this. What I would like you to do is to take this uplift figure. So we have 300K, 500K, 100K. So say it's 500K. I would like you to add that figure on top of your current GP billings. So say, for example, this year you've done another 500K. I want you to add the uplift figure to your current GP figure to give you a total figure. And I want you to write your total uplift and current GP into this box here. So you'd put, for example, £1 million in this box.
Yeah.
Which is your total uplift figure and your GP. Okay. Now, I would love you to get a calculator. And if you've got a phone handy, if you can grab your phone, and most of you will have a calculator on your phone, because we're going to do a little bit of basic maths here. What we're going to do is we're going to take this figure here, which is your uplift figure and your GP figure, and we're going to divide it by 52 weeks, which is going to give us your weekly figure. So I'm going to imagine it's £1 million that you're going to get, and we're going to divide that by 52 weeks. So on a weekly basis, you have got potential to generate 19,230 per week. Right. We're now going to take this figure here, so the 19,000, and we're going to divide that by 5 days. Divide that by 5 days, which gives you your daily amount, which is going to be, with these figures, just below 4,000. And then we're going to take this figure here, and we're going to divide that by 8 hours. And I know some of you be working more than 8 hours a day, hopefully some of you less, but we're going to divide that figure by 8 hours a day per day. And that's going to give you your hourly rate figure.
Yeah.
So with this example, this person's hourly rate figure is £481 an hour. So that means basically what they can generate on an hourly basis, they're worth £480 an hour. So I'd love to know, what's your hourly rate amount? So there's a couple of things we're going to do with this figure. The first thing is this. First of all, I want you to times the hourly rate by this figure here, which is the time that you're spending on the stuff that you struggle with or hate to do. So, 481 times by 16. So on a weekly basis, you basically might as well be burning almost £8,000. So your opportunity loss doing stuff, you're wasting this amount of money per week. And this hourly rate figure, it's so important. This is probably one of the most important things. I want you to put it up on your desk. Every hour that I'm doing something, or every minute, every second I'm doing something that I shouldn't be doing, that I could find somebody on less than 480 pounds per hour to do, I'm losing money. So if you can find anybody who's less than your hourly rate to do the job that you're currently doing, you need to work out how to do it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Marcus Nansen. I haven't got a picture of him, but Marcus, so he came to us, solo recruiter, had scaled, had a nightmare, taken it right back to himself, wanted to grow again. And he was a 360 biller, and he just was literally hitting his head against a brick wall. And so he came in, we worked out what his unique ability was, which was business development and interviewing candidates, taking candidates to market. And then we looked at how did he hire people in and around him to do the jobs that he hated. So the first job that we needed somebody to do was our organic LinkedIn outreach messaging sequence. So he hired a VA on 4 hours a day to work with him. And what happened, they then got a flow of really, really good candidates coming through. So he started interviewing them. And he had so many good candidates that he couldn't then interview them in enough time to then market them out. So next hire then needed to be a candidate, somebody who was going to be pre-screening and talking to the candidates. So he hired a senior resourcer, and at this point, his business went from less than 5K to doing about 20K a month. They then again, influx now of more jobs, influx now of more candidates. They were getting really good traction. It was just so much work. And again, you know, Marcus, you know, when you need to hire is when you're about to implode. And he was getting really busy again. So it's like, right, we need to clone another delivery consultant. So he then ended up hiring another delivery consultant, and he looked at outsourcing other parts of his social media thing. And with a team of fundamentally 3.5 people, his billings went from less than 5K to over 50K a month. And this is what we're talking about when we're talking about like a stealth, like mighty team. You can create highly, highly profitable. Its costs will be less than 15 grand. You know, so he's making like 35K net profit a month on that. And because he really understands the value of his hourly rate, and it's like, what do I do to get stuff off my plate? So the next part of this exercise is this. Now, with these 3 things that you struggle with and least likely to do, I want you to ask yourself a question. Could I just stop doing them? Right? Is that what is it in my world I could actually literally say I'm not going to do anymore? What is there anything that I could literally stop doing? And then the second question is, what is it that I could be delegating? So, and I would take these 3 things that you've put in here, and these would be the first 3 things that you need to start with. So with this example, it'd be you need to hire somebody who can summarize candidates, candidate profiles. You'd need to find somebody who does my admin, and I need to find somebody who does my debt chasing and invoicing. So you would write in these boxes the things that you need to delete totally, to delegate. And what is important next thing is, like, ask yourself the question, why is this important? How will it impact me when I do this? Why is it important to stop doing these things? Why is it important to delegate these things? Because the more pronounced and the more relevant your why is, the more likely you are to take action. So certainly when I set this business up, we had young kids, and I wanted to spend more time with my kids. And so that was a really great driver for me, my children, because there were times where I know if it was just for me, I wouldn't follow through. But if it meant I was not going to spend time with my kids and they were going to be disappointed, that was a real driver for me to shift that behavior. So your exercise is to look at what in your world can you stop doing, and what is it that you need to delegate? And then the next question you need to ask is, if I delegated these 3 things, what would this look like? What would delegation look like? Delegation. If I was to get someone else to write the summaries of my candidates, like, what would they need to be doing? How would they do it? How would I teach somebody, get somebody in from my head into a system? What would delegating that look like? And then who do I need to hire and how can I do it? So those are the questions you need to ask on those 3. Who do I need to hire and how do I do it? And then just put an action plan. And then the final thing is, with the 3 things that you love to do, how can you double down on these things? Now, what I mean by double down is, like if I spent 80% of my time doing client development, again, 80% of my time, what would that look like? What would I be doing? How would I be doing it? And these what and how questions, what, how, and why is it important, are really key, because once you get a picture of what you'd be doing, how you'd be doing it, then it's like, well, how can I bring that into my day on a day-to-day basis? So I want you to be thinking about these 3 things here, like, what are the 3 things I need to double down on, and why is that important? Why is that important to double down? What difference is that going to make to my life, my family's life, my team's life, my, time and money freedom life?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the thing here, Nikki, as well, isn't it? It's not just about the financial figure. It's actually, as we're saying, time is more valuable than money. So what are the things that it's going to enable you to do? Yeah, exactly, time and money. Because after all, that is what I know a lot of people on this session will have started their own business up for. Yes, financial freedom and time freedom. It's that balance. It's the things that you want to be doing outside of work that are really linked to that true fulfillment in life. Cool.
Yeah.